In part 3a, we saw that the temple was a clock. But we need to understand that clocks does not run without authority. Schedules do not exist without decrees, and timelines do not activate without law. Today, we enter a courtroom, not an earthly courtroom, the courtroom of heaven. Daniel is not casually praying. He is in exile. Jerusalem is destroyed and the temple lies in ruins. But at this point of time, Daniel was reading Jeremiah. By reading Jeremiah, he discovered that 70 years are ending. So what does he do after that? He confesses national sin. He appeals to covenant mercy. He acknowledges divine justice. Daniel is speaking like a defense attorney. And then, after his prayer, Gabriel appears. Not conversationally, but legally. In the book of Daniel chapter 9 and verses 24, it states like this: 70 weeks are determined. Now, we need to pause here for some time. The word used for determined in the Hebrew language is chatak. It means there is a deeper understanding for this word. It means he cut off or decreed or legally apportioned. This language, if we understand it, is completely a judicial language. Heaven is announcing clearly a fixed portion of time that has been legally assigned to resolve a case. This is not at all a symbolism. This is a verdict issued from the throne of God. As we have read from the book of Daniel 9:24, and if we keep on reading, the Gabriel appears to him, and the Gabriel lists 6 objectives. These are not poetic phrases, they are all the legal outcomes. So in these 6 objectives, I'm going to give you overall detail. The first one is to finish transgression. The word here they use for transgression means the rebellion or the covenant violation. This is not at all a generic sin. This is Israel's covenant breach. The timeline will end rebellion's legal standing. That's all about the first objective that was received to Daniel by Gabriel. And the second one is to make an end of sins. This phrase carries the idea of sealing or restraining sin's authority. Sin has legal claim over humanity. That claim must be shut down. That's why the second objective. This is the message sent from heaven above to Daniel through Gabriel. And the third objective is to make reconciliation for iniquity. When we see the word reconciliation, it is an atonement language. A legal covering must and should be provided for it. And when we see the fourth objective of this one is to bring in everlasting righteousness. Everlasting righteousness. We can clearly understand it is not temporary righteousness. righteousness. It is an everlasting righteousness. And everlasting means the permanent judicial status. It is a permanent status. And the fifth objective is to seal up vision and prophecy. It means to complete the prophetic revelation. Whatever was revealed to him, it will be completed. And it also means to fulfill what was spoken to him. And the final sixth objective is to anoint the most holy. This clearly refers to the ultimate sanctification of God's redemptive purpose, the consecration of the messianic work. All these six are, we need to clearly understand, all these six are the courtroom objectives. Heaven is not planning festivals here. Heaven is closing a case. In the book of Daniel chapter 9 verses 25, there is a profound statement which makes us to think. See, the word of God says like this: from the going forth of the command. We need to pause over there and understand. Going forth of the command. Here clearly notice this precision. Once when the command is released, there is something that gets activated. The clock that was set by the heaven does not start vaguely. It starts with a decree and a governmental order. This clearly ties in redemption to the history. A Persian decree will activate a prophetic clock. From that decree, Messiah the Prince will arrive. See, this is the beauty of God's plan. Not randomly. The Messiah will not arrive randomly, but on the schedule. Heaven legislates redemption. In that verse, Daniel chapter 9 verses 25 onwards, if we see, we notice a word called 70 weeks. The Hebrew word shabuim means sevens. It means 70 sets of sevens, which is equal to 490 prophetical years. And this 490 prophetical years is the timeline, God's timeline, which He revealed, and God allowed Daniel to see this God's calendar. This 70 weeks has been divided into three parts: 7 weeks, 62 weeks, and 1 week. This is completely a perfectly structured program and perfectly aligned, and it is exactly working in the same way. And as far as we can do the calculations, the 69 weeks has been completed. In this 69 weeks, the Messiah has come and He has been cut off. Everything worked according to this prophecy. See, if we measure it, it is segmented clearly. Why? Because the legal contracts will have clauses. This is a legal contract. Now listen carefully. 70 weeks, 490 prophetic years. This is not at all merely a countdown to the cross. It is a comprehensive redemptive framework within this prophetic period which God has shown and given. Messiah must appear, Messiah must be cut off, sin must be reconciled, righteousness must be established, prophecy must be sealed, the most holy one must be anointed. This means The 70 weeks encompass the entire messianic mission. Entire. Not just his death, but his arrival, his atoning work, and the completion of his kingdom program. Now let us clarify carefully. The text specifically marks the appearance of Messiah, the cutting of Messiah, and the final 7-year period. The birth is not dated in Daniel 9, but it is necessary for Messiah to appear in this timeline. So while the prophecy centers on the public manifestation and death, the incarnation belongs inside the broader messianic timetable. Now here we need to understand the critical theological structure, The 70 weeks are divided clearly. And we have seen the 6 objectives of verse 24. And they are not yet fully consummated in history. Everlasting righteousness is not yet globally established. And vision and prophecy are not yet sealed in totality. The kingdom has not yet visibly filled the earth. Therefore, we need to understand that the final week completes what the cross has legally secured. The cross accomplished redemption legally. The resurrection vindicated it, but the return of the King will enforce it globally. So the 70 weeks contain this everything. And the decree does not end at Calvary. This is a clear-cut kingdom prophecy. It culminates when the King returns to rule the earth. So the 70 weeks were not merely counting down to a cross. They are counting down towards a king. Calvary secured redemption, but the final week will reveal the crown. In Daniel chapter 9, verses 26, we can clearly see the Messiah shall be cut off. This is a sacrificial language. Cut off means executed, removed violently. But we need to notice it occurs after the 69th week on schedule. The cross was not chaos, it was appointment, it was the legal execution required to reconcile iniquity. Calvary was a courtroom fulfillment. Justice satisfied, debt paid, verdict rendered. The temple was the clock. Daniel received the contract. History became the evidence, and Calvary became the verdict. Sin is judged, rebellion answered, righteousness established. The legal problem of Eden was addressed lawfully. This was not ritual. This was cosmic jurisprudence. But the decree includes 70 weeks. Only 69 led to Messiah's cutting off. 1 week still remains, a final 7-year segment. The legal file is not yet closed fully. And when that final week activates, history will accelerate and the king will return. We clearly understand by this, heaven installed a clock, heaven issued a decree, heaven fulfilled it at Calvary, and heaven will complete it when the king returns. In this series, in the next part, we are going to see how the wise men were able to understand this timeline and how they were able to discern the year and the date when the Christ was born. So the next video, we are going to bring some interesting historical proofs how the birth of the Messiah that has been scheduled has happened, and the date of the birth of Messiah will be revealed. Shalom.